Today we're going to be reading a story. This story is called Penny Helps a Friend. We're going to be experimenting with some sounds. So I'm going to have some sounds already worked into the story for you, but later on in the story you're going to have a chance to make your own sounds that we're all going to say together as a class. So let's start the story. One morning, a rabbit named Penny woke up and read her favorite book like she does every morning. All of a sudden, she heard a loud sneeze from her next-door neighbor. Can you follow along with me? Ah, achoo! Uh-oh, sounds like my neighbor Jack has a cold. Penny hopped over to her neighbor's den. Can you follow along with me? Boing, boing. Penny knocked on the door. Knock, knock. Hello? Jack the squirrel answered the door. I heard you sneeze. Do you have a cold? Penny asked. No, I've never had a cold before in my life, said Jack, but Jack shivered. Okay, now it's your chance to make up your own sound. Can you draw out on your own what you think a shiver would look like? And then we're all going to say it. So go ahead and take a moment to do that. Okay, now do we have any volunteers? Okay, now let's all say it together. Are you feeling a bit chilly? Asked Penny. I think there's just a breeze in my house, Jack said. Jack sneezed. Okay, now it's your chance. What do you think a sneeze would look like? And then we're all going to say it together. Does anyone want to volunteer their sound? Okay, now let's all say it together. I think I should grab you a blanket, Penny said as she hopped inside. What do you think Penny's hop would look like? Go ahead and take a moment to draw out the sound. Does anyone want to volunteer their sound? Okay, now let's all say it together. Penny grabbed a blanket and covered Jack. Jack sneezed again. Okay, now let's see if we can draw a different sneeze this time. Does anyone want to volunteer? Okay, now let's all say it together. And then he shivered. Okay, now what do you think Jack's shiver looks like this time? Go ahead and take a moment to draw it out. Does anyone want to volunteer? Okay, now let's all say it together. I will go make you some soup, Penny said. A few moments later, Penny comes back with a bowl of soup. Jack took a sip. Now what do you think Jack's sipping sounds like when he's slurping up his soup? Go ahead and take a moment to draw it out. Does anyone want to volunteer their sound? Okay, now let's all say it together. This tastes amazing, and I already feel better, Jack said. Jack continued to sip his soup. Does Jack's sipping look different this time? Go ahead and take a moment to draw it out. Does anyone want to volunteer their sound? Okay, now let's all say it together. I am just so full, Jack said. Thank you, Penny, for coming over to check on me. That's what friends are for, said Penny. It wasn't long before Jack started to doze off and fall asleep. Now, what do you think Jack sounds like when he's sleeping? Maybe he's snoring. Go ahead and take a moment to draw it out. Does anyone want to volunteer their sound? Okay, now let's all say it together.